do have form, so that's good. All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining the Bicycle Pedestrian Active Mobility Advisory Committee meeting. I've said it so many times that I actually can say it fairly fast. I sure wish we could shorten that up a little bit, but maybe sometime in the future. Active mobility would be much better, although people don't understand that, but it does start a good conversation. Anyway, welcome everyone, and thank you for being here. We are not going to do the minutes first off. We are going to jump right into our guest speaker today. And she is not new to our committee. Amy has been here several times before, and we welcome her back. And today, Amy is going to talk to us and give us an update on the Forward 2045 plan, which was approved back in December by the City Council. I think it was December. But congratulations, Amy. It's nice probably to have the plan behind you, but now you have all of the work to come to make sure that the city looks like we want it to look in 2045. So welcome today, and thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I do have Veronica Romero on the meeting with us. She is a new project planner in our department. She started last week. So she's brand spanking new. She is filling the role that I had 2 positions ago as sort of the environmental project planner. So I just wanted her to come in and sit in and you know, meet some folks if you can. And I don't know if she can talk to us with her earbuds, but I just wanted to see if you see the name, that's who she is, and just to introduce her to y'all, so that way as we move forward with some of the DOT and planning sort of projects that we sort of assist with, you kind of know who we're talking about, and what she'll be doing as she moves forward in her job here and her role here. So for 2045, hopefully everyone's looked at the plan and knows what the plan is, and I don't have to go through what a comprehensive plan is and bore you all to tears with that. The website is still live, so it's still up there if you haven't looked at that. We haven't updated in a while because while the City Council adopted it in November, actually it was in November, okay. They adopted the plan in November, so it replaces Legacy 2030. The county has not. And so we are a city county department, and this is a city county plan. And so we're waiting for the county to adopt the plan, and then we'll start moving forward with implementation of that. We're hoping that they will do that in the springtime. They are waiting on a study to be done completed by HDR, looking at industrial opportunity sites, so they can have that information and hopefully, you know, utilize that in their decision making for the comp plan, either included or some of the recommendations of that, or just make sure that they align from what they're hearing. So that's where we're at right now with that. In the meantime, what we've been doing is some research on different things, so that once it's adopted by the county, we can move forward and right away into the summertime of doing first looking really at housing, since it's the most critical issue really facing us right now. We'll be doing public outreach specifically on housing and how to tackle housing with UDO amendments and changes to our UDO. So look for that probably sometime in the summer to do some public outreach and get some input on that, and what that looks like could be a ton of different things. Some of it would be to allow duplex, triplex, quads in single family zoning. It could be increasing building height in certain areas for multifamily development, so you could get something a little bit higher Probably won't be skyscrapers because you start getting building code there and cost and things like that. It could be reducing lot sizes for single family. So that way you can get more lots on some of our land that is remaining within the city. Looking at our PRD standards, which is Planned Residential Development Standards, to see about incorporating a mix of single family and townhome projects automatically, so they don't have to come through for a rezoning. We've had a couple projects come through that way that have sort of a mix of townhome and single family detached. So it could be that, it could be all kinds of stuff as to what we look at and how we tackle that. And it could be very dependent on location. I don't know how many people are aware of this, but we utilize something called growth management areas and how we do our work. And so, you know, what we proposed out in the rural areas of the county may not be the same as what we would, you know, look at for suburban areas. So it could really be location dependent based off GMA. So we'll be doing that. I will say that the state's got some bills out there. They have a lot of bills out there right now this year, but one of them actually does look at housing. So they may take some stance on that, which will dictate what we could do as well. But that's a wait and see type of thing. We will be looking at doing new area plans, new round area plans starting in the fall, looking really at the interchanges. Now that we have, you know, the new beltway in place that was not in place when we did the first round, that really changes the sort of whole dynamic of sort of the northeastern part of the city-county line right there. And development pressure up in those areas will be greater because of that. And how do we plan for that? Where do we align sewer in that area? What that makes sense for us to put sewer out that way. It is a ridge line, so you'd have to do a pump station, so that really increases cost. So, but we wanted to make sure that we have the housing input done before we start looking at area plans, so that we can incorporate the recommendations we hear from housing, the housing input, into our area plans as we move forward. We will likely do area plans that are a lot shorter and more concise and really land use focused than what we have now, simply because that's sort of the way we're going. 42045 is less than 100 pages. Legacy 2030 was 300 pages, something like that. So we really narrowed it down a lot because of that. And so we want to keep that trend and make it a little bit more accessible document for people to understand and get hold of it and read. Beyond that, we're sort of a holding pattern. You know, until the county adopts the plan, we can't do a whole lot in terms of implementation. We can do some research like we've been doing, but we can't really go out and actually hit the ground and start doing public outreach until we know that the county's on board with the plan. In the meantime, Legacy 2030 still holds as the comprehensive plan for the county. But hopefully that will change in the next couple months. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I'm here to answer any questions you have about the plan or comp plan or planning or what's going on in planning or anything you might have. I'm happy to try, at least attempt to answer questions. So.
Hey, Amy. I'm Ryan Gussman. I have a quick question about the high density housing expansions. I haven't read the whole paper, so feel free to call me dumb if I missed this. I was wondering, will there be any parking mandates for out of downtown core high density housing? Will there be like required parking?
Well, right now, I think in downtown, if depending on the building, you know, there's pretty limited parking mandates downtown. There is the state level, they're trying to do away with parking minimums altogether and just let the lenders decide. We've done some parking mandates that if you're on a, you know, next to an activity center on a transit line, you know, you have reduced parking requirements. But at the same point, the lenders are going to require what they require, even if we take them out. And that's really where we probably would go with, is to say, just let the lenders decide how to look at that. but that could be something that we look at. We've looked at it in the past. We can totally look at it again to see the best management way to address particularly affordable housing. Parking takes up a tremendous amount of land. So do stormwater, so your impact fees, and that's really where a lot of the cost is for affordable housing. It's not really in the density so much as it is in the stormwater and parking and those sorts of things. So that may.
Yeah. That answers pretty much. I just wanted to see where you lied in particular, because I know with some developments, parking mandates like just required, and it's always been a how do I phrase this correctly? A pain in my side hearing the cars get the preferential. Of course, we're in the active mobility thing, so
Yeah.
I don't need to circle jerk that here anymore.
Yeah, on the planning side of this, we've actually done, we had a little book club where we talked about parking and read a book on parking and everything like that. And, we would probably be very in favor of getting away from parking requirements altogether and just allow the market to dictate, allow lenders to dictate, because, we could require, one space for every 2 bedrooms or something, or whatever it is, or 1 space per unit no matter the bedrooms, and then the lenders are going to require 1 space per bedroom or something like that, and then that's what's going to be built, even though we don't require that. That's what's going to be built. So it's a very parking. It seems like a very boring, sort of simple thing, but it gets really convoluted when you start adding in the market demands as well as the lender demands that have not sort of kept up with things like transit and sort of just active and alternative transportation options and things like that.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's exciting for me, but I'm also a weird autistic guy, so I got my weird niches, so I love hearing about it. Thank you for answering my question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amy, is there anything that we as a committee can help, or even as individuals, help you with the planning department in your process that you're going through to get the county to approve it and sign off on it?
Anybody can contact the county commissioners. They are elected bodies, so you can always contact them and show your support for the plan. Also for, just bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure outside of city limits. I don't know if that's something that they really delve in too much into, but there are a lot of spaces that, that where the city and the county line kind of get really muddled, and you think you're in the city, but you're actually in the county. And the idea of a truly rural county is not really what we're at anymore. So having sidewalk and pedestrian amenities incorporated into those areas might be something. But yeah, reach out to your commissioners, share your support. Once we have a date, obviously, we will advertise that on our website and let folks know that we have a date for the public hearing, and feel free to come. Granted, the meetings are typically, I think right now, are at 2 p.m., so it's not the most conducive time for coming out and speaking in favor, but letting the commissioners know that you are in favor of the comp plan and speaking your support would be greatly appreciated, and coming out and whenever that public hearing is scheduled. And then going forward, as we start talking about different aspects of the plan, if we could utilize your connections in the community to help spread the word about public events and public outreach that we're having on the very specific aspects, the more input we can gather, the better. I know for the housing component, we will be doing, our traditional sort of some public in-person meetings that we always do, but there also be some online survey components as well. Try to be as diversified as we can to get as much input as we can on the very aspects of it we're working on. Particularly housing is the first one, but pretty much anything that we work on. And then, if you all have anything that you're working on, we're here to assist you as well. So if any way that our planning efforts can help y'all achieve goals that you have, or vice versa. We're here for that. So just let us know how we can assist in that way.
Well, one thing we brought to you, and you asked us to hold until after the 2045, as you know, was our recommendation that we wanted to bring to you for sidewalks on both sides of the street for all future development. Is it time to bring that to the board or planning department and request that again, or what
I'd still wait till after the county adopts it, so that way we're fully out of the adoption process and we don't start muddling the waters a bit with that.
Okay.
But it's obviously something we can discuss and bring it up, and then put on our work program to work on and look at. That's sort of where we're at right now, is work program, scheduling out things. And so I know there will be text amendments as part of that work program for the next several years to address different things and to further the initiatives of the comp plan. So, but yeah, I would wait until after we get the county through and adopted, just so that way there's no question about where the boundaries are for the plan, and that's out of that process completely.
Okay, thank you.
So just a couple more minutes, hopefully. Keep your fingers crossed, just a couple more minutes.
So one more question. When do you anticipate, because if we do a letter from the committee, we would have to be drafting it between now and our May meeting, approve it in our May meeting before we could send it, or we as individuals, and I should say not simply but also we as individuals can write something and send it on our own. But if we did it as a committee, would that timing work, or do we need to really just consider each of us independently reaching out?
The last I heard was that they were looking for the HDR study to be done sometime in May. It was supposed to be April, but now I think it's May. So depending on the timing of that, it may be end of May, beginning of June before it goes to public hearing.
Okay.
I don't know if that works, and probably the earliest would be sometime in there, but that's as detailed as I can get on as to when it could potentially go to the county commissioners. So depending on y'all's schedule, it may be better to do it individually. I'm not sure. I'll leave that at y'all's discretion.
It sounds like we could actually do both based on what you just shared.
Okay.
I don't mean to hog the forum with all the questions. Ryan, thank you for starting off with one question. I have one more question. You said that our NC legislature has been doing some things as well. One of the things that I've noticed is the down zoning. Is that, am I saying that right? So this may be too political to ask you, I don't know, and if it is, just tell me. But can you describe down zoning and what that does to anything that you're planning on doing?
Okay, so simply put, down zoning is going from allow a zoning type that allows for more to something that allows for less. So a good example would be if you downzone from, say, your property is, single family RS9, which is a lot of single families RS9, and you go to agriculture. That's a downzoning because you can't build as many lots and you can't develop it as much. Going from a multifamily district of like an RM18, which is our highest multifamily district, to an RM8 is a downzoning because you're limiting the amount of development that can happen. In terms of that, I think it's SB 382. That was a Helene bill, I believe, that went through. There's now been other bills that have come to remove us from that and to basically erase Forsyth County from being held to that.
Right.
And a lot of counties have done the same thing.
Yeah.
And it has basically for the most part, stopped all of our UDO text amendments that we were planning on doing. Because, you know, we had one that we were looking at doing. It's not a huge impact, but we were looking at, there's some sections that on the federal highway map that don't have view corridors for billboards, that would limit billboards. And we had a case on 421 out in Louisville, out west of Louisville, for someone who wanted to put a billboard up. That got denied, but if it had been in a view corridor, they would have been restricted from doing that. We have not moved forward with that because of this downzoning provision, that if you take away the right to do a billboard, which is was an allowed use, you're essentially downzoning the property. You're taking away something that they could have done before, and now you can't do it. So that's one that's been on hold for us. Sign provisions, any changes to signage we've been looking at, because there's been some state and federal legislature about signage. We haven't really been doing anything with it because it sort of muddies the water. As if you take away their ability to do a certain type of sign now and limit it, that's a down zoning. We classified as a down zoning. So then you're in conflict with the new SB 382 legislature with the state. So how to do that. So any type of change, I don't think people realize all that it touches. So any change, it's really commercial property. So any change, you talked about parking. If somehow we required more parking for certain use in certain area, that's a downzoning. You're taking away, you're adding, you know, if it makes it easier, then it's fine. But if you add restrictions, require more buffer yards, or, you know, make commercial properties have to do sidewalks or something like that, all of that can get into that mix. And so it really causes a tremendous headache. And that's probably why pretty much every municipality and county has put in their own bill to remove themselves from that provision. It's probably the one time you ever see across the state, everyone's in agreement that that was a bad choice, which tells you something about it. So we're working on at the state level to try to get us removed from having to follow that. But it's a wait and see type of situation right now.
Okay. Well, thank you. I was scanning some bills looking for something in particular that I had heard, and then I saw all the different ones submitted from all the different municipalities and counties across the state, and just wondered about that a little bit. So thank you for taking time.
Yeah, it really is something that it's kind of interesting when you think about it, how collectively each county and municipality has come out against that one provision, which rarely happens, but it really impacts what a municipality can do to address issues. Really, if there's a problem in the UDO that needs to be addressed, they're very limited in how they can address it. If someone would claim that it's a downzoning, so there are absolutely problems with it.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Does anyone else have a question for Amy? All right. Hearing none. Thank you for coming. It's always a pleasure to have you here, and we really appreciate the work that you're doing for our residents. So keep up the good work.
Support and participation in 42045. We had some great participation, and a lot of that was because of our partners out in the community getting the word out. So I really appreciate that.
Thank you. And we'll help you with any that you have in the future. So just let us know. And we'll try to follow. All right. And you're welcome to stay if you'd like, Amy, but I know you have a lot of other things to do.
Okay. Thank you all.
All right.
Thanks, Amy.
Yeah. All right. I need to share just briefly before we hit the minutes. This last weekend, the planning department, I should have said this when she was still on, but the planning department, they have a young lady by the name of Erica Palmer, and she worked with a couple of residents who had been calling her for the past 5 years, asking if there could be intersection improvements done there by Wiley Middle School. And this last weekend, they had an activity that they called Innovative Intersections. And they painted across, I think that's Hawthorne right there. Maybe. Maybe not. Anyway, they painted across.
Carol, it's Hawthorne and Northwest Boulevard. They did all three directions. So like they did on both sides of the street on Northwest Boulevard and then across both sides of the street on going across Hawthorne and then across Northwest Boulevard.
Well, they did two. The other two, I think, are planned for this coming Sunday, unless they went ahead and did the other two. I was there at the start of that, and there were a lot of young people from the high school and some from the middle school that were there, and a lot of people from the neighborhood. And it was fabulous. Anyway, I wanted to bring it up because I think that they're going to finish the other two. Ben, you said that you drove through that last night. Were all four done or just two?
I believe just the ones across Hawthorne were done.
Okay. So the other two are coming this coming Sunday morning. They started at 9 a.m. So I assume they'll start at 9 a.m. again. So if anybody would like to come out and help paint, please do, or just come watch the young people do it. But it is great to see innovative activities going on in our community. So I wanted to mention that before we dug in. So first on the agenda is approving last month's minutes. Are there any edits, corrections, comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion. Greg.
Thank you, Greg. And is there a
I'll
second?
second it. I'll second it.
Okay. You're not on my primary screen,
That was
so
Donna.
This is
Donna.
Donna.
Okay. Hey, Donna. I could not tell. Thank you. All right. Having a motion and a second. All in favor? All right. And anyone opposed? All right, not seeing any or hearing any. Minutes are approved. Next on the agenda is a letter. So, let's see. Actually, I want to insert one other thing right here. There was a consent agenda because we thought that this meeting was going to go long. And so we are not going to review the consent agenda. What we wanted to provide on that were primarily two things. One was updates to things that we have talked about in the past or have transpired since our last meeting. And then all of the upcoming activities throughout the year where pedestrian or bicycle or hiking or walking are identified. So please remember to take a moment to review the consent agenda since we will not be going over those items. All right, the next one is the consideration of submitting a letter endorsing the request to restore bicycle and pedestrian funding to the North Carolina STIP funds. We did this actually earlier this year, as you may recall, but there is actually now a House bill moving through all the different committees, and it's House Bill 282. I drafted a letter. I sent that letter to you this last week to review. I can, if you would like, bring it up so that you can see that. Otherwise, what I'm looking for are any suggestions or edits to that letter because we thought that it would be good for us to send another letter of support saying that we would like funding restored for standalone bicycle and pedestrian projects. So is there anyone that wants me to bring that up and share it? Hearing none, are there any edits to that letter? Or was everyone satisfied with it? Okay, that is wonderful. Hearing none and not hearing any edits, is the committee supportive of us? Is there a motion to submit this letter to the individuals that are identified? Make sure that I've got the right one. Hang on. So the individuals we identified to send the letter to were Dr. Amber Baker, one of our House representatives, well, each of the House representatives. So Amber Baker, Kanika Brown, Kyle Hall, Donnie Lambeth, and Jeff Zanger, because they're all going through the House right now. So is everyone supportive? Is there a motion to send this letter to those individuals? John makes a motion. Greg, you're seconding? Okay. All right. All in favor? Okay.
Aye.
And anyone opposed? All right. I'll get this letter out hopefully this week. Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is resubmitting a letter requesting additional money for infrastructure maintenance and DOT staffing. This again is a letter that we sent out. We actually sent this letter to the budget director. His last name is Tesh. I'm forgetting his first name right now. Anyway.
Scott?
Brian, maybe? Scott. Yes, thank you, Ben. So we sent the letter to Scott Tesh in November, and Scott reviewed our letter and commented back to us that we should take it to the city council. So in January, Donna and I attended one of the city council meetings where we presented comments and gave them a copy of the letter that we had submitted to Scott Tesh. The budget is nearing a point where they're going to be reviewing it for approval, and we were considering submitting a letter once again to them, to the city council, to ask once again for additional maintenance, an increase to the maintenance budget and for DOT staffing. So we wanted to bring it to the table today to ask you your comments, your thoughts on submitting it a second time. So I'll start with that.
Carol, was there any comments from the first letter? Any reaction at all?
No.
Okay. We need to send another one then.
You say we do need to send another one?
Yeah.
Okay. Any comments from anyone else? All right, for this particular one, we have to probably do it through a process which we've done before, which is we're going to draft it and then email it out to you all. We will need for each of you to send edits. If edits are received, we'll have to send it a second time, but the objective is that we have to have everyone in writing saying that they approve it to submit it. So we'll work on this over the course of the next couple of weeks because, and I'm actually saying this week and next week to try to get that done because the budget approval process is fast approaching And I don't think that we can wait until the May meeting to review it and approve it. So just so you all are aware that we've got to do it kind of through that process. But let me just get a motion to submit a second letter real quick from everyone. Ryan says he makes the motion. Is there a second? Greg's always seconding or making the motion. Thank you, Greg. All right. And all approved? Okay. Any opposition? Hearing none, that's approved as well. Whew, okay. All right, the next one on here is something that Ben and I have been talking about, and it dawned on me that while Ben and I are talking about it, that does not mean that the committee supports this. So I think that we need to talk about this to see if this is something that we want to do. So item number 6 is consideration for participation in the annual street repavement review process. What this would mean is once there is a list, which it should be coming soon, the list would be presented to us, and then we have the opportunity to take a look at those streets and make recommendations if we think that bicycle lanes could be added to those streets. Again, this is a street repaving process. And I think that this would be somewhere where our committee could add some value. I do know for a fact that the Durham committee, bicycle committee, reviews the repavement process list in Durham City. So it is something that other committees do, and I would like to hear your thoughts on this.
I think it's a no-brainer. Let's do it.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds exciting to me personally, but again, weird guy.
Any other thoughts from anyone?
Just to be clear,
How m-
Carol. Oh,
Go ahead,
sorry.
Amy.
I was gonna say, this is like a list of what is in the queue to be resurfaced. If the committee requests a design change, because say it's only looking at doing a center double line and whatever, if we're saying you need to add bike lanes or add edge lines or add sharrows or something, now is the time to make that design change recommendation, right? This isn't, okay. Yes, I'm fully supportive.
Ben, do you want to elaborate at all?
Yeah, so I can give kind of a timeline of what we're looking at for having our list of upcoming repavement. Right now, the city has a contract. Someone is is basically gathering data on road condition for the whole city. So that's underway, and once that wraps up, based on those results, the list will be put together which roads need repaved and in what order they need repaved. So once we have that list, I think our department's going to take a preliminary look at it, see what options exist for bicycle facilities based on our plans, and then kind of put together maybe a shorter, more compiled list for the committee to look at to give some input on.
All right.
Does that help, Carol?
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Comments from anyone else or questions? Is there a recommendation for our committee to be involved in the process?
I'll make a recommendation for our committee to be involved in the process.
Is
I'm
there a
waiting on
second?
Craig, but I'll second since he didn't jump in.
You beat Greg? Oh, no. All right. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Hearing none, seeing none. That too is approved. All right, wow, fast. Very good, thank you. Moving into information items, work group updates. Who would like to go first?
I'll go.
Oh, sorry. Hosey, we're just synced up. You go first.
You go, girl.
I was just gonna say the advocacy and partnership group has not met yet, but we do have a meeting booked for Friday. So looking forward to connecting. I believe we're gonna be focusing on getting that one pager document kind of started and hopefully done soon, because we're finding more and more opportunities when we would want to share that with elected officials, other folks in the community. So hopefully we'll have that built out in the next couple months, and then we'll be talking about who do we want to meet with, into one-on-one meetings, small group things, and we'll probably be enlisting more of the committee for those. But the first thing is just that document.
Amy, sorry to interject. The meeting invite I got is Thursday. Just want to make sure, not Friday.
That's a different meeting.
Okay.
We also have a ad hoc. Is Mac on the call today? Mac Levy?
I have not seen him.
Okay, so
No.
Mac was
Okay, I see it.
committee
Oh
member
goodness.
who's been
Cat, really?
participating and supporting. Yes, so
Sorry.
he's helping with the multi-use path.
Okay, that's what it
celebration
is.
Opening, and we also have a call for that tomorrow. It just so happened they were back to back. So yeah.
All right. Sorry, I am silly and my cat got in the way.
No worries. So that's another update that's an ad hoc working group that's going to be helping with the multi-use path.
All right, lots of things. I can't complain.
Yeah, we're moving and shaking. That's my report for this moment.
We are moving and shaking. Thank you, Amy. Michael, do you want to go?
Yes, so the education and outreach, we had a group meeting, which was great, kind of our really first official one with our group, and had a lot of great, we kind of got to know each other a little bit. And we're talking about some things that we want to do is get a combined list of all the kind of key people involved in cycling, a comprehensive list of all the organizations, and really try to kind of tap in and connect with a lot of those folks. We've got our schedule going. We probably want to find some central location to post that calendar of events ongoing. Obviously, a lot of happening in May, and I can go into that specifics now or later, depending on what you guys want to do. But overall, we've got a set meeting on a certain, it's like the third Thursday or Tuesday of the month or something like that. And so yeah, we're going to start doing that consistently and just let our ideas go and see where they take us.
Excellent. Do you want to go into more detail?
Well, so May, there's a lot going on, as you guys can imagine. Well, actually, in April, a couple more things. We're going to do a bike safety presentation at Cook Elementary and distribute some helmets at the end of the month. The 19th, next Saturday, we're having kind of a Gears and Guitars celebration and a community bike ride, doing the Long Branch Trail to Salem Creek to around Salem Lake. So if anybody wants to get involved in that, any of these things, please let me know. And then, so then the Cook with the bike safety team, we're doing collaboration with Collidium the 2nd, which is the first Friday out for Collidium, and we're going to do the science of cycling. So again, if anybody wants to jump in there and participate and contribute and just be involved, please reach out to me. And that's going to be focused towards kids that first Friday, and then the second Saturday is their night out. They have a consistent event, and it's going to be the science of cycling focused for adults that day. So probably a little bit of similar stuff, but maybe a little bit different as well. Again, if anybody wants to participate in that. Then the Rite of Silence is the third week in the third Wednesday at 7:00. I don't know, Amy, I think you said you were going to be out of town maybe, but or maybe that was last year. I don't even remember. But any,
I was out last year. I should be,
Yeah.
and then I think it got
any
canceled.
help getting
Right.
that together and participating, it's a lot of fun. It's pretty easy. It's the police are already on board to support. So yeah, we'll just get an email out to everybody. If you don't see an email, I don't have you on my list. So make sure we connect on that. And then Gears and Guitars is happening the 23rd and the 24th of May, which is Memorial Day weekend. That we're going to have a big the Safe Kids celebration, kind of kids festival at Callidium, and we're going to do a kids parade, which is going to kick off. We'll do a bike rodeo and have some other safety vendors there, and then we're going to have the kids lead off the Streets of Fire with a parade down 4th Street a little bit before the races start, and then we'll have the races and a concert right there in front of Callidium on 3rd Street. So we're moving it off Marshall this year, and then Saturday will be the Fondo. We'll do a Greenway gravel ride. We'll do the Criterium racing all day, and then concerts again at night. So it should be a really fun weekend. I'm hoping to have my volunteer email go out. I've been talking to a bunch of people, and I know that I've got a lot of positions and people involved, but I'll make sure everybody's on that email list where you can sign up Genius. But yeah, anything you guys want to get plugged into, please just reach out to me directly, and we're going to make it happen.
And Michael, if you want to put any in writing and you want me to send it out to the committee, because I know that a lot of people don't have everyone's email address, and I'm happy to share email addresses if people want those.
Okay.
If the committee does not mind, but I can help distribute things to the committee if you'd like.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah.
Michael, did y'all's group talk about doing anything in connection with the city marketing department in May, as far as like putting out some PSAs about bike safety type of stuff?
I have not had any of those conversations. Ray might have, but yeah, if there's an opportunity to make that connection and provide the material to do that, I'm on board. So I don't know, Ben.
Ben, do you know if the city was planning to do anything? Like, had they contacted you?
We're planning several bike month posts, but Michael, if you have any information you could share with me, I can pass that along to them and get that incorporated. So
Awesome.
Yeah, that the kids thing is the last day of school. So I'm going to try to connect with Winston-Salem Forsyth County School and see if we can't put something. I don't know if they still do the Tuesday packets or not, but try to put something in there and just get a bunch of people downtown. So we'll see what happens.
Well, that sounds exciting for having your very first meeting and having only one meeting so far. Sounds like you covered a lot of ground.
Well, our group switched over time. I was the only existing member from the first go round, so it was all new faces. So
yeah, you are the only committee member of that work group. So, but hopefully everybody that's there with you is excited.
Yes, no, they had strong participation. We went over their new ideas and stuff like that.
Right.
Richard, I believe Richard got a full-time position with Piedmont Environmental Alliance, so he's going to be doing some work from them. I know we're going to be partnering with them for the Science of Cycling. He's going to kind of do a power station and maybe do the educational piece and bring the bike that lights up the switchboard or whatnot.
Oh, that's excellent to have an in with Pia. So, oh yay! Oh, that's exciting news. All right, thank you. Any questions? And I didn't ask if anybody had any questions for Amy, but any questions for Amy or Michael on the two work groups? All right, the last work group. And John or Greg, if you want to give the update, you can, or I'm prepared to make the comments on our work group. All right.
Chairman Hoover, I would like for you to do that.
Thank you, Greg. So the policy plan and project work group has met once since the last committee meeting. And in our meeting, we continued to work through the comparison worksheet. where we've gathered information from seven different sources. So, and when I say sources, I would like to say cities, but it's not all cities. We actually have, hang on, I'll pull it up and just tell you what those 7 sources are. So we've looked at Asheville and Buncombe County, Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, Durham, East Coast Greenway, Zebulon, which I know that might be hard to believe, but Zebulon has a great greenway infrastructure. John actually found that one. We've scanned through Crow, which is a, what would you call that, Ben? It's kind of a
It's the
worldwide.
Dutch bicycling design manual.
Yeah, very complex, very long. And we've kind of scanned through Minnesota, which also has a very, very big greenway design standard manual. So those are the ones that we've looked at. There were others that we searched for. I know that a lot of people, what's the Roanoke, talk about Roanoke, but we could not find any design standards for greenways in Roanoke. And there were some others that we went searching for. Actually, we did Greensboro, but they do not have infrastructure design standards there. They've got a master plan, which suggests that they should have them just like we do. But anyway, we took all of those, we identified the different areas of standards, just to give you an idea. So width, surface, subbase, cross slope, center line requirements, and the list goes on. And we have been reviewing each of those. We've been trying to determine if we think that it is justified to be in our standards or not. We don't want to make them too complex, that we can't get contractors to do it, or the greenway becomes too expensive, like too many parking spots for housing. So we're trying to work our way through those. And honestly, we are very near completion. I think that we have just a few more to look at in our next meeting. So we anticipate that we should be able to bring something to the committee maybe in the June, July timeframe for review, discussion, and maybe even approval so that we can take it on to the city. So that's where the policy plan and project work has been. Any questions or comments? And Greg, John, did I cover that okay? Thank you.
Very, very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda, item number 8, was naming and celebration of the Salem Parkway multi-use path. As you might have heard, there is a meeting scheduled for tomorrow at, I think it is 2:15. There are a few of us that are on the committee that will be attending that meeting tomorrow. And is there anyone else on the committee that might be interested? And we can forward that, Michael, we can forward that, Greg, great. We'll forward the invitation to you. And you can join in as well. Let me scroll to the second page. Were there any other hands up for joining that committee? All right, seeing none. Anybody else interested? Okay. All right. That's the update on that. And the last item, help save the Long Branch Trail Raise grant funding. This is not under action items because it's not really a committee. It's not going to be a letter from the committee, and let me explain why it's not a letter from the committee. As you are probably all aware, there's been a lot of funding from the federal government that has been frozen or stopped or cut off. All funding for anything referencing green, climate, diversity, equity, inclusion, and bicycles has been pulled from the Department of Transportation. So that means the funding for our Long Branch Trail extension has been pulled. Since we are a bicycle ped committee, I don't think it is wise for our committee to send a letter. It is wise and beneficial for individuals to send letters. So I sent the email on March 31st. I hope many of you have taken action on that email. If you have not, I ask that you pull that email out and take action. It is really not that difficult. The letter is provided. The individuals to send the letter to is provided. And most of those are pull it up, fill in your name, your address, copy the letter, paste it into the box for comments, and hit send. So not very difficult. The most difficult thing is to writing to the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy. His address is provided to you. It's not as easy as the other ones because you actually have to send a written letter to him. I could not find any place where you could type it in online and hit send. So I actually printed it out and filled out the envelope and put a stamp on it and mailed it last week. And so I asked you to consider that as individuals to save funding, not only for our own trail, but all bicycle trails across the United States. You are welcome to change the letter if you so choose. And I think I also provided to you the chairmans of the transportation departments. I personally did get a letter back from Ted Cruz. And his response to me was that I did not live in his district. So I promptly wrote back to him again saying, yes, I am aware that I am not in your district, but you are the chairman of the of the transportation committee, and that is why you are receiving my letter. So I don't think it'll do any good, but he still won't tabulate it because I don't live in his district. But as Representative Brown, Representative Baker shared with me, the Republicans need to hear from us as much as the Democrats. So please feel free to write any of the ones on that list, or you can stick to just your own representatives. That's my political comments for today. All right. I'm going to open it up to see if there is anyone else that has anything to share with the committee. Any other topics to cover? Anything we should be considering?
I did just want to flag, in case folks didn't see in the chat, that Mark he's the planning director at PART, put a link in there to check out their website, pass along comment suggestions. I just, for the record, put in if I wanted to get from my house to my job using transit, and it's suggesting that I walk 26 minutes to the bus stop and then take a 19-minute bus ride with 16 stops to the transit center, and then walk 5 more minutes to work. So that's not a problem on the website. I thought that was awesome that I was able to put in the to, the from that I wanted to leave at or arrive at. That's an awesome tool. But the fact that this is the system, and that was just me. That's just me and my little circumstance. But do peek at the website, and if you have feedback and stuff, he's got his email in the chat. So
thank you. I'm glad you pointed that out. Usually I can't get to the chat. Well, I can, but I'm too busy paying attention and
You're
trying
leading
to
the
talk.
meeting.
Yeah.
I'm your buddy here. I'll help you out.
Thank you. I need that. Oh, one other thing to share. Ben sent something to me earlier today. I don't know that I can recall the name of it, but if you all are interested, I am happy to share what he sent to me, and it was trying to determine which of 3 different advocate roles do you play for kind of the bike ped. It's really just bicycle, but and it's to determine which personality type you are when it comes to advocacy. So I thought it was cute. It took maybe 5 minutes at the most to read through it and try to determine which role you play. If you're positive, if you're kind of angry and critical, or I forget what the third one was, but I thought it was kind of cute. So I can send that all to you if you're interested.
I put it in the chat too.
Okay, good. Thank you, Ben. You might all try that.
Hey Ben, I know I was supposed to text you last year about this, but the scooter situation with parking in the streets, it's gotten pretty bad. I have been re-recording information, getting pictures, and I've also noticed the truck unloaders from the contractors who distribute, they're loading them directly into bike racks. I have personally yelled at 3 of them to stop doing that. I don't know if they'll continue doing that, but I wanted to let you know I'm getting pictures, documenting, and I'll send them to you, like I said I would, in September. But yeah, it's getting bad. I also got pictures of like people in wheelchairs being blocked by scooters, like a couple Wake Forest kids left, and stuff like that. So sorry about that.
Yeah, feel free to send those along to me. We're always looking at ways to manage them better because space is really limited on our sidewalks. We got a lot of competing interests with outdoor dining and signal cabinets and scooters, and it's all kind of tough to find a spot for everything perfectly. But we're looking at dedicating some on-street parking spaces that are underutilized for scooter corrals to kind of get them off the sidewalk, free up a little space. So that's one thing we're looking at, some locations for that right now.
Okay. Yeah, I actually have a funny picture where the entire bike rack is filled and somebody needed to park their bike and they locked it to a dining chair because there was just none available because the scooters are taking all the bike parking.
Thank you for bringing that up, Ryan. And actually, I have failed to do something today. I think we had already started in the meeting when Cindy joined us, but we have a new member, her first meeting that she's been with us, Cindy Thompson. Cindy, you want to say a few things?
Hi.
I think you're on mute. Oh.
I'm actually a new old member. I was a member and I had to resign just based on other responsibilities. And the mayor's office contacted me and asked if I would join again because they happen to have 2 open spots. So looking forward to being part of this again, and hopefully with my work situation now, I'll be able to be more active.
Very good. Thank you. And let us know which of the work groups you'd like to be a part of. Thank you. And I think we have a guest today, and I missed that as well. Maddie Burgess. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Maddie was here last meeting.
Oh, that's right.
She's our new transit planner.
She's with transit, and she's going to be a regular with us.
Yes, ma'am.
I forgot. Please forgive me. Thank you, Maddie. Welcome back again. All right. All right. Any other things to share?
Well, I went to Bentonville last month. That's why I wasn't here. Oh my gosh, I can't stop thinking about it. That place is awesome. I mean,
Isn't it?
It's mountain bike mecca, but the greenways everywhere, so many outdoor recreating. The infrastructure on the streets was first class. I mean, platinum to the max. That place was awesome.
Yeah.
Just go. If you haven't gone, put it on your list.
Help us find a Walton.
Yeah.
Because that's what it takes. Yes, it is fabulous up there, and they are highlighted all of the time. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. And it's not just Bentonville, it stretches all the way down to Fort Smith and beyond. Yeah, crazy, wonderful. Yeah. All right, anything else? Thanks for sharing that, Michael.
I was just gonna make a quick plug that our next meeting will be in person.
Thank you, Amy, that's true.
Try to join in person if you can.
Hopefully less rainy than last time.
Yeah.
All right. All right, that should do us for this meeting. Thank you all for joining, and thanks for working through this agenda. Great job today.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks, Al.
Hope to see you out and
Okay.
about.